The S-rank White Fang party, composed of childhood friends, was on the path to achieve great things. Unfortunately, the protagonist, Toru Aben, is told by the leader Sane that he has been exiled from the party. Toru's fiancée, Lisa, also agrees with the decision, saying that due to the gap in their levels, he might end up dying. While he is shocked by her statement, he notices she is wearing a ring different from the one he gave her. Growing suspicious, he quickly glances at the other girls, Nei and Sora. To his shock, he discovers that they, too, are wearing the same ring. Not only that, the sorrowful expression on Cyan's face has completely disappeared. Seeing all this, Toru realizes they are getting rid of him because he is interfering with their fun. He is utterly devastated to discover that his fiancée is cheating on him with his best friend. His mind fills with questions. When did this happen, and how long has it been going on? As he begins to process the situation, Cyan mockingly tells him to stay away from them and just support them from a distance. In response, Toru suddenly punches him, calling him a son of a bitch. Furious that Sane would do this despite knowing he and Lisa are engaged, Sane smirks at him, making Toru more angry as he goes in for another punch, but is then kicked away by Nei. As she demands to know what is wrong with him, Sora calls him scum. When Toru tries to respond, a ring is thrown at him, the same one he had given to Lisa. She declares that she wants nothing to do with him, and tells him to stay away. Devastated, Toru leaves the tavern as Lisa coldly tells him goodbye. As he walks through the rain, holding the ring in his hand, it reminds him of Lisa. Overwhelmed, he throws it away and collapses to the ground, breaking down in tears. Punching the ground, he wonders what he truly meant to her and how she could have done this to him. Later, after calming down, Toru decides to focus on the future. He opens his stats, and despite having many skills, he admits they are useless. For example, the mysterious ability called Saving System seems completely pointless. Even experts have no idea what it does. He wonders if things would have turned out differently had he possessed a stronger skill. Suddenly, he notices a black demon dog approaching and quickly unsheathes his sword. As it charges, he prepares to strike, hoping to relieve some stress. He swiftly slices through the beast. As he sheathes his sword, he notices a lock icon next to his skills shattering. Then multiple system windows appear, announcing that his experience-saving ability has reached its upper limit and will now pay out at 100 times the normal rate. Immediately afterward, that 100x multiplier is increased tenfold due to the effect of his UP skill, pushing him to level 300. However, since a human cannot maintain such overwhelming power, the system initiates a physical reconstruction of his body. He then gets surrounded by mana as the system announces the completion of his restoration, transforming him into a dragon man. Left utterly speechless, Toru sees yet another window appear, stating that the experience-saving function has been damaged and will take time to repair. Confused, he questions what kind of notifications these are and whether it's a joke that he has now reached level 300. But upon opening his stats, he is shocked to see that he is indeed level 300. When he calms down to think carefully, he quickly realizes what is happening. He suspects that the saving experience skill activates automatically once enough experience points are stored to reach a predetermined level. Now everything makes sense to him, as he had worked harder than anyone else in the party and still couldn't level up. Realizing this, he smirks, and then breaks into laughter. With this newfound power, he sets out on a journey to travel the world. And since he is level 300, there is nothing for him to fear. Thus he can do whatever his heart desires, even though there is a gaping hole there right now. He believes this journey will mend it, and he decides to begin by visiting the neighboring countries. Later, Toru arrives in Armand City, the border town of Livio. He finds the place unexpectedly lively, considering it lies in the middle of nowhere. While walking, he notices a slave shop, and upon recalling his former teammates, he decides that he wants a partner he can trust. Slaves are ideal, as they are bound by a contract not to betray. Thus, he enters the store, as trust-based parties no longer interest him. Upon entering, he is greeted by an old man, whom he informs that he needs a battle slave. The old man then asks if he has any specific race in mind, to which Toru replies that he does not. The old man then recommends a lizard man, and upon asking the price, Toru learns it is 30 million. Since that is too much, he decides to look for another option. The old man then recommends an elf girl, who, although inexperienced, can accompany him in the evenings, and may prove useful if trained as a mage. Though Toru finds the idea distasteful, he asks the price, and the old man once again says 30 million. As he remains silent, the old man asks for his budget, to which Toru replies that it is 1.5 million. With that, the old man tells him to follow. He then takes Toru to an area filled with low-quality slaves worth less than 1 million. Though they are untrained and sick, the old man notes that some might still have value. While following him, Toru notices a girl who suddenly becomes frightened at the sight of him and screams the number 300. Since that is his level, Toru wonders if she somehow noticed it. He then asks the old man her price, and the old man informs him it is 110,000. When he asks why she is so cheap, the old man reveals that she is very ill. Toru then asks the girl her name, and she hesitantly replies that it is Kaede. With a warm smile, he tells her it is a lovely name, and informs the old man that he will take her. After completing the contract procedure, they leave the store. But since Kaede has trouble walking, Toru decides to help and carries her on his back, telling her not to worry. Later, he brings her to a hospital, where the doctor, after assessing her condition, informs him that she suffers from a rare illness affecting only beast people. Upon hearing this, Toru asks if she is not human, to which the doctor replies that even though she lacks beast ears and a tail, she is definitely of the beast race. This is evident from her long, narrow pupils and the swelling on her back that resembles a tail. Realizing this, Toru wonders if she possesses high physical ability and asks the doctor if her illness can be cured. The doctor informs him that it can, but only by using medicine made from the heart of an original dragon, not any subspecies. Upon hearing this, Kaede attempts to stand and say something. Toru then gently assures her that she will be fine in no time and tells her not to worry. But she does not seem assured at all, so Toru tells her that he will heal her so she can be of use to him, and asks if she finds it strange for a master to take care of his slave. Kaede appears to believe him now and shakes her head in response. As they leave, the doctor tells Toru to return when he runs out of pills. Toru thanks him, calling him an old man, which the doctor quickly clarifies by saying he is only 30 years old. After leaving Kaede at the inn, Toru arrives at the forest to hunt a dragon, but even after 3 hours of walking, he cannot find one. Although other monsters are present, none dare approach him, sensing his powerful presence. When he glares at the orcs, they immediately run away in terror. Observing this, he wonders if it's their intuition that allows them to detect danger. Suddenly, he hears a loud roar, and he is certain it comes from a dragon. Normally, it takes a carefully planned army to wipe out a monster like this, but he decides to face it alone and runs toward the sound, wondering whether he will be able to defeat it by himself. Upon finally arriving before the dragon, Toru is shocked by its massive size, but when he recalls Kaede's face, he realizes he cannot afford to be afraid and prepares to fight. Before he can attack, the dragon whips its tail at him, shocking him as it leaves a massive crater. It then charges at him with its mouth wide open, ready to devour him. Resolved not to be like those who abandon their own, Toru leaps at the monster, and with a single swift slash, beheads the dragon, eliminating it instantly. Upon landing safely and looking at the dragon's corpse, he is stunned by the power of being level 300. Later, after receiving the medicine from the doctor, Toru returns to the inn. He gives it to Kaede along with some water and tells her to drink it, saying it will make her feel better. Kaede asks if he did all this for her. Toru replies that all he did was gather the ingredients, and the doctor created the medicine. As he tells her to drink the water after taking the pill, she does so, and immediately starts getting better. As she falls asleep, Toru feels relieved and glad that the medicine is working. Setting that aside, after witnessing his own power today, Toru decides to fight with more caution from now on. He never imagined he would need to worry about something like this. The next morning, when he wakes up, he finds Kaede sleeping beside him and questions why she is there. Later, he goes to the inn's chef and gives him some dragon meat, offering money to have it cooked. When the chef asks what kind of meat it is, Toru tells him it is dragon meat, utterly shocking the man. A few moments later, the chef prepares a steak and a hamburger using the dragon meat. Upon eating them, Toru finds the taste so delicious that it changes the way he views dragons forever. After finishing his meal, he brings some for Kaede. When she asks what it is, he tells her it is her breakfast. Upon taking the first bite, she has a similar reaction and starts devouring the food. As she stains her clothes, Toru remarks that they need to do something about them. He later brings her to a clothing shop where he buys her new clothes. Afterward, he takes her to a weapon shop where, instead of choosing a wand, she selects 2 iron fans as her weapons, although they are a bit large for her. She then begins skillfully moving them around, and seeing this, Toru believes he should not be surprised, considering she is from the beast race. Later, while returning to the inn, Toru notices Kaede looking at a food stall where he and Lisa used to eat. He then asks her if she wants something, but she declines. When he tells her not to be shy, she hesitantly says she would love some. So he buys her some food, which she begins eating while sitting on a nearby bench and thanks him. As she calls him master, Toru asks if she can stop calling him that. She responds by saying that she cannot, since he is her master. After saying that, she begins crying and asks if he dislikes her and whether he plans to get rid of her. He responds by patting her head, assuring her that he will not abandon her and wants her to stay with him until the end of his life. With a warm smile, he tells her that he may not be the best master, but he needs her, so he is counting on her. Hearing this, she stops crying and, holding his hand, tells him he is the best master. She also promises to do everything she can and asks him to stay with her forever. In response, he says he feels a bit embarrassed to hear that, for which Kaede apologizes. He then changes the subject by suggesting she cut her bangs, to which she replies that she had thought of cutting them herself if she could get a pair of scissors. Then suddenly, the icon beside his skills breaks again, and his body starts getting covered in mana. As he tries to make sense of what is happening, multiple status windows pop up, each stating that his skill experience saving has been damaged and that it will take time to repair. More windows appear, one announcing that his limit will be readjusted and others revealing his new skills, magic lending and experience multiplier. Shocked that it has happened again, Toru wonders how much power he has gained this time. Setting that aside, he notices Kaede seems scared of the aura he is radiating, so he absorbs it all back into his body. He then apologizes for frightening her, to which she replies that it is fine and calls him a great man. When he asks if he really is, she insists that he is. Then he opens his stats and is shocked to see that all of his skills have reached level 50. This confuses him as the skill limit is supposed to be 10, making him wonder if he has surpassed the limit. However, he is more concerned about the two other skills under saving and wonders what would happen if they are released. Kaede then asks if he is all right, to which he replies that he is fine, and asks her if there is anything she wants. Hearing this, she starts to say something, but then says she has nothing. Knowing she wanted to say something, he asks again. She finally admits that she wants some soap. Later, after arriving at the inn, they enter the bathroom. When Kaede asks if they are really going in together, Toru replies affirmatively. As he takes off his shirt, Kaede quickly covers her eyes in embarrassment. She then undresses and wraps herself in a towel. Toru offers to wash her, but she declines, saying she cannot let him do that. However, he insists and tells her to sit down, so she does. He begins washing her head and noticing her tail. He asks what breed she is. When she replies that she is a fox, Toru is surprised, as he has never seen one before. While thinking about it, he accidentally touches her in an inappropriate place, causing her to let out a strange sound. Embarrassed, he apologizes and begins to walk away, but Kaede tells him that she doesn't mind if he wants to. He then flicks her on the forehead and leaves, saying he will think about it when she is older. Later, Kaede cuts her bangs, and upon seeing it, Toru comments that she is beautiful. However, he notices some hair left on top, which turns out to be her ear. This surprises him, as she also has human ears. Kaede then mentions having heard a theory that the god who created the beast race was very fond of those ears. Hearing this, Toru thinks it sounds like a fetish, to which Kaede agrees. Moving on, as Toru begins sweeping up the hair, Kaede calls out to him and says she had a good time today. She hopes they can have just as much fun tomorrow. Toru agrees and says he will stay with her forever. The next day, Toru returns to the inn and appears deeply distraught. When asked what's wrong, he explains that he was charged an excessive amount by an angry man for sword repairs. However, Kaede still doesn't understand, so he shows her the sword that broke while he was cleaning yesterday. He had gone to a shop to buy a replacement, and the owner recommended a particular sword. After taking it, Toru swung it vertically to test it, but it was too powerful and caused an explosion. Not only did the explosion damage the surroundings, but the sword itself also broke. Because of this, the shop owner became furious, and Toru had to pay for the broken weapon. Kaede then tells him she has the perfect weapon for him. Later, she takes him to a ruined temple, explaining that it is a temple of sacred arms, where only the worthy can wield the weapons inside. As they enter, Toru expresses doubt about whether he can pull one out, but Kaede assures him that she believes in him. When Toru remarks on how large the place is, Kaede mentions having heard that the temple was built by the gods. She goes on to explain that there are 2 tests to obtain a sacred arm: unlocking a door and pulling out a sword. When Toru asks how she knows all this, she replies that she once knew someone knowledgeable about such things. They soon arrive at the gate, the first test. Toru finds no handle, so Kaede suggests he touch it. As he does, the door opens, and Kaede congratulates him. He enters the chamber and finds a sword embedded in the ground. As he notices that it's one-handed, Kaede explains that the sword can change size and shape to adapt to its wielder. Toru then attempts to pull it out and struggles at first, but he eventually succeeds, surprising himself. Kaede congratulates him again, and he thanks her, acknowledging that it was her idea. However, she believes he would have come here eventually, as he is the chosen one after all. Hearing this genuinely makes him happy, and he recalls how his former party never offered him such compliments. With a bright smile, Kaede says they can now go on adventures together, to which Toru agrees. He tells her they will form a party and make their debut as adventurers when they reach the city. Meanwhile, Sane and his entire party engage in acts too vile to describe. More importantly, it is revealed that the other two girls also had feelings for Toru. However, none of them actually betrayed him of their own will. They are under the influence of Sane's rare skill, Demonic Eye of Lure, a power that forcibly captivates members of the opposite gender. Sane, jealous of Toru for being chosen by all the girls despite believing himself to be superior, used this skill one day to steal Lisa from him. After that, he committed some extremely despicable acts. Setting that aside, the demon lord he intends to face is a catastrophic entity that appears once every 100 years. Sane plans to seek out a sacred weapon to defeat it. Although he detests the idea, he believes the fame and wealth are worth it. Dreaming of earning a harem of princesses, he laughs, thinking this will be the best life. However, he is later devastated to learn that the dragon he was supposed to defeat has already been slain. The person who informs him apologizes, and Sane responds by saying he is simply surprised by the sudden news. When he asks who killed it, the man replies that he doesn't know, as the dragon was already dead when discovered. Later, Sane punches a tree in anger. When asked if he is angry, he denies it. Nae then suggests they forget about it and do something fun instead, but he tells her to shut up. Sora points out that the person who defeated the dragon is not ordinary. Since his task is now complete, Sane suggests they move on to their next target. However, he is shocked to discover that the sacred weapon is gone. As Lisa tries to calm him down, he slaps her away and threatens to kill her if she touches him again. He begins to wonder why everything started going wrong after Toru left, and even suspects him of being behind it all. Still, he believes the real enemy is someone far stronger, someone who might also have defeated the dragon. Sane vows to kill that person if they ever meet, and decides to move on to the next objective. He tells the group they are heading to the dungeon of Luntata, believing that once he completes it, his name will be widely recognized. However, upon arriving in the city, a local informs him that the dungeon was there a month ago. Shocked, he demands the man show him the direction. The man replies that there is no specific direction, and simply tells him to keep walking forward. Following the man's advice, Sane eventually arrives at the location, only to be stunned when he finds a massive hole instead of a dungeon. 1 month earlier, in Luntata City, when the dungeon was still present, Kaede finally received her adventurer's card. Toru advises her not to lose it, as it serves as her identity card, and she accepts. Setting that aside, Toru's rank has dropped from S to B after leaving his previous party. Kaede then notices that the place they're in reeks of alcohol. Toru explains that it's a spot where people drink and enjoy themselves. Learning this, Kaede protests that he doesn't need to visit such places when he already has her. In response, Toru pretends to be clueless, asking what she means, and walks away while she pouts. Kaede mentions having heard there is a dungeon in the city. Toru confirms it, saying there's one that has existed even before the city itself. When he asks if she knows anything about dungeons, she admits she doesn't. He then explains that there are 2 main reasons adventurers enter dungeons. The first is to collect materials and equipment from the monsters they defeat, as it's how they make a living. The second is to reach the core stone, a rare item that grants skills, rare gear, and other rewards. Since she's still learning, they decide to explore only the first floor. After entering the dungeon, Kaede defeats several monsters using wind magic, impressing Toru with her performance, as she is far better than he expected. She then informs him that she has leveled up, shocking him even more. He finds it incredible that she leveled up so quickly, even though they started just an hour ago. She believes it might be thanks to him. As he tries to deny it, he realizes it's due to his skill, Experience Multiplier. Delighted, Kaede says she will grow stronger faster with his help. Later, on the 3rd floor, she skillfully dodges attacks from Cyclops-type monsters and retaliates with her ability Blizzard Blossom, freezing them in ice before using her fan to shatter them. While Toru praises her, Kaede insists that level 30 is still not high enough to be his rear guard. Determined, she resolves to grow stronger, and Toru asks if she's not tired. Since they've gathered enough materials, he suggests returning. As Kaede agrees, she notices something on the ground and asks what it is. Toru initially mistakes it for garbage, but quickly realizes it's a rare magic item with the ability to store up to 100 items. When Kaede asks if it's possible to store items of any size, Toru replies affirmatively. Since that's the case, Kaede suggests they keep going, but Toru refuses. He points out that they are running out of food and water and will starve to death, to which Kaede agrees. He tells her there is no need to rush, as they have many ways to level up, and she agrees. With that, they store the loot in the storage item and set out to leave the dungeon. Later, Kaede is eating some delicious food at a tavern. She thanks Toru for the treat, but he tells her not to, saying she performed well as an adventurer and they earned a total of 120,000 coins. She then asks if he isn't going to eat. He replies that he can't, as the food was bought with the money she earned, so she should be the one to enjoy it. Hearing this, Kaede offers him a plate, saying it will taste even more delicious if they share. Since she insists, he accepts it. Later, after finishing their meal, they walk back to the inn. Toru realizes that ever since he met Kaede, his life has gotten better every day. He believes that if he goes on a journey with her, he will surely fill the emptiness in his heart. The next day, Toru wakes up to Kaede yelling and shaking him. When he opens his eyes and asks what's wrong, he notices that Kaede's body has grown. Shocked, he asks if she's really Kaede, to which she replies affirmatively. When he asks what happened to her body, she explains that she found herself like this when she woke up. Confused, Toru wonders what could have happened, as until yesterday she was a child, and now she has suddenly grown. As he ponders how this happened, Kaede mentions it might be due to her sudden level increase. When he inquires further, she explains that when a child surpasses level 20, their body rapidly matures overnight to maintain balance. Learning this, Toru recalls how his own race changed due to a sudden level increase. Setting that aside, he didn't expect her to become such a beauty, and believes he can't treat her like a child anymore. He then tells her to put some clothes on, but she shows him that her outfit got ripped during the transformation. So he gives her his own shirt, which surprises her. When Toru asks if something is wrong, she replies that it smells like him. Wearing the shirt, she asks if it looks good on her, but Toru notices something else and tells her to wear pants. Later, he buys her new clothes, and as she puts them on, Toru comments that they suit her well, which makes her happy. Though her body has grown, her personality hasn't changed a bit. He then asks if she can still handle the iron fan well. She responds by demonstrating her skill, seeing which Toru believes she will be able to perform 2 magic attacks at once. A few moments later, as they walk through town, everyone is staring at Kaede. One person comments on how pretty she is, while another wonders if such beautiful women have always lived in the city. Toru finds these comments and the jealous glares annoying. Kaede then says she will earn a lot of money for him today. Toru tells her not to worry about that, as they still have some money left over from the dragon. So for today, he suggests focusing on her level up, for which he has also brought enough food and water. This makes her excited, and she starts wagging her tail. She enthusiastically says they're going to have fun today. Later in the dungeon, as some skeletons rush to attack, Kaede uses an aerial blast spell to blow them away. She then uses another spell, summoning many icicles in the air before launching them at the skeletons. With this, she tells Toru that they did it, to which he replies that they sure did. As she is level 50 in a floor that only requires level 15, he becomes very bored, so much so that he starts to feel sleepy. Kaede then asks if he is tired. Toru replies that he just feels a bit drowsy since he woke up early. She swings her fan, clearing the area with a strong gust of wind, then sets up a carpet, and after sitting down, offers him a lap pillow. Though shy, he admits it would be nice to get some rest and accepts her offer, which makes her happy. He then lays his head on her lap and, noticing that she smells pleasant, quickly falls asleep. A few moments later, he wakes up and thanks Kaede, saying he had a good rest. Then he notices there are more skeletons around than there were before he fell asleep. When he asks what happened, she explains that they attacked while he was sleeping, so she dealt with them. He is genuinely surprised that she was able to defeat them without moving an inch. She then uses her fluffy tail to dust him off, which Toru finds very considerate. The warmth of her tail gives him a feeling as though he is in some kind of holy state. He then asks for her stats, saying that he doesn't know anything about her current capabilities, but adds that he won't press if she doesn't want to share. In response, Kaede opens her status screen and presents it to him, saying she is more than happy to do so. As he looks through her stats, he notices the power boost skill, which he suspects might be the secret behind her rapid growth. All her skills seem like those of a powerful mage, and he begins to believe she is destined to become a major star in the future. With that done, he suggests they continue exploring and asks if she wants to go even deeper. She replies that she does, as long as he is okay with it. A few moments later, on the 10th floor, Kaede fights some goblins riding wolves. She uses her skill Aerial Slash to easily eliminate them. When Toru asks if she's adjusting to using magic, she replies that she can, thanks to leveling up. But as more monsters rush toward them, Toru tells her to ask for his help if she needs it, which she accepts. Kaede then attacks the incoming monsters with Aerial Gust, eliminating them all instantly. This shocks him, as those monsters were supposed to be the strongest opponents on this floor. Later, still on the 10th floor, Toru cooks some soup and gives it to Kaede. She thanks him, but hesitantly asks if she should really be letting him do that. He replies that it's no problem, since he's used to it. Setting that aside, he asks her what level she is now, and she replies that she's level 150, which shocks him. Kaede then compliments him, saying the soup is delicious, to which he responds that he has certainly been told that before. After they finish eating, Toru asks Kaede if there's any trick to using magic. She explains that the most important thing is imagination. If he can visualize it, even without knowing the spell, he can still use magic. For example, if he imagines a flame, it will appear from the palm of his hand. When he tries it, it actually works, though he can't maintain the flame for long and finds it difficult. Kaede believes he can improve with practice. Toru agrees and plans to make good use of magic if he can master it. Later, on the 19th floor, Kaede fights against many monsters, skillfully dodging their attacks. As one of them nearly gets too close, Toru quickly warns her, since even he has never fought so many different monsters at once. However, Kaede shows no sign of concern and uses her freezing magic to freeze all of them at once. She then casually asks if he was saying something, to which he replies that he wasn't, and silently wonders if he was ever truly worried, especially when she's already level 200. Later, they enter the 30th floor, but Kaede senses no enemies. Still, Toru tells her not to let her guard down. Then he notices a floating crystal ahead on the path, and as he approaches it, he realizes it is the dungeon core. Just as he begins to feel happy that they have finally reached it, Kaede tells him to touch the core. He points out that he hasn't done much, and suggests she should take it instead, but Kaede insists, saying it is thanks to him that she made it this far. So she asks him to take it. Since she insists so strongly, he decides to accept it and thanks her. He has always dreamed of completing a dungeon and wonders what kind of reward he will receive. Upon touching the stone, it begins to glow brightly, and he loses consciousness. When he wakes up to Kaede calling him, he asks what happened. She responds, telling him to look up, as the entire dungeon has vanished, leaving them at the bottom of a massive hole. Shocked, Toru wonders where it could have possibly gone. Kaede then asks if he has always worn that ring. However, this is his first time seeing it, and he wonders if it is a reward for clearing the dungeon. Kaede then notices a ring on her own finger as well. Suddenly, a system window appears, congratulating them for clearing the dungeon and announcing their rewards. First, 2 rings of disguise, and second, a dungeon. While Toru is still in shock, Kaede uses appraisal on the ring and learns that it can disguise their stats at level 1. At level 2, it allows them to disguise themselves as someone else. And at level 3, it can disguise their status as another person's entirely. Toru finds these additional abilities to be very useful. For now, he decides they should get out of there. When Kaede asks how, he gently picks her up and tells her to hold on tight. With that, he leaps up, stabbing his feet into the wall to push himself upward. Using this method, they manage to escape the hole. Toru asks if she is all right, to which she responds affirmatively. Fortunately, no one is around, as it is midnight, so they decide to leave before things become complicated. 2 days later, after leaving Luntat, they head toward the city of Einark, which Toru believes is a pointless stop. However, they have a purpose there, to visit a place called the Ruins of the Gods. It is said that an advanced civilization once flourished there, now known as the Great Races. Though the cause of their downfall remains unknown, some buildings from that era still remain. Since they are embarking on a long journey, they cannot miss the chance to visit this place. More importantly, they also don't want to miss the opportunity to try the local cuisine, which always feels satisfying. While eating, Kaede asks if he has a name in mind for their party. After giving it some thought, he comes up with the name Manhwa Brigade. Kaede then points out that there are only 2 of them, but Toru replies that it feels right, and the number of members may increase in the future. Since Kaede agrees, the name is settled. Setting that aside, he asks Kaede how she became a slave. Just as she begins to answer, She suddenly hears something, and they both notice a carriage under attack. Without hesitation, Toru decides to help, and Kaede agrees. The bandits begin slashing at the carriage, telling the people inside to come out, claiming they won't take their lives. Just then, Toru appears beside one of the bandits and shoves him off the horse. The others stop and question who he is. As Toru glares at them, the bandits rush to attack, but he effortlessly blows them away by releasing wind from his mouth. However, one bandit remains and fires an arrow at him, which Kaede intercepts. She then suddenly vanishes from their sight and easily knocks them out. As Toru comments on how weak the bandits were, the carriage door opens, and a beautiful girl steps out to thank them. She introduces herself as Marianne, the daughter of Count Rayone, and expresses her gratitude once more. Toru then introduces himself and Kaede. Marianne begins calling him Toru-sama, and after getting closer, requests that he come to her mansion so she can properly thank him. Before he can say anything, she pushes both him and Kaede into the carriage. She then asks where they are headed. When Toru tells her they're going to Einark, Marianne finds it convenient, as she was planning to invite them to her residence there. She also offers them a night's stay at her mansion. Toru tries to decline, saying he can't trouble her that much, but Marianne insists it's perfectly fine. He turns to the maid for support, but she does not respond, so he asks Kaede for her opinion, and she replies that she will go wherever he goes. They all then look out the window as they arrive at the city of Einark. Upon entering the city, they go straight to Maria's mansion, where her butlers and maids welcome them. While Toru looks around in fascination, Maria inquires about her father to one of the butlers. The maid then introduces herself as Urara, Maria's personal servant, and says she will take them to their rooms. Afterward, Urara takes Toru to his room. As soon as she leaves, he excitedly starts bouncing on the bed, unaware that Maria stands at the door. He gets startled when she calls out to him. She then asks if he's free, as she plans to show him around the city. Toru replies that he is, adding that he was thinking of going outside anyway. Later they arrive at a ruin where Maria and Kaede play with a giant broken statue. Toru asks Urara if she is certain she can protect the Lord's daughter. She replies that she can, as she used to be an S-rank adventurer. Maria then points to a nearby store and mentions they sell delicious sweets. Excited, Kaede asks if she can eat there, and Toru tells her to go ahead, handing her a pouch of gold as an allowance. As they leave together, Toru is surprised by how close they have become. Toru then reveals that he has been saving money to free Kaede, should she wish it. For now, he just hopes the hole in his heart heals, as he still feels excruciating pain when he thinks about Sane and Lisa. But he believes that one day, if he can forget everything and live a peaceful life, he will no longer need a slave. Later, they come across a massive statue, which Maria reveals was made by her father when he was young, with help from the townsfolk. Though her father is now a bit embarrassed by it, Toru finds it impressive. Suddenly, the ground begins to shake. As everyone wonders what's happening, the statue breaks apart and tentacles emerge from beneath it. The tentacles then grab Maria along with several bystanders and drag them into the hole below. While Toru watches people crying over lost family members, Urara rushes to jump into the hole to rescue Maria. Without hesitation, Toru decides to help as well and tells Urara to slow down. When she says she cannot allow a guest to take such a risk, he insists, saying she will need a lot of help down there. He believes that with his and Kaide's power, they are more than capable, to which she agrees and thanks him. Thanks to Kaide's magic, they land safely. She then uses another spell to illuminate the surroundings, revealing an ancient structure underground. Urara explains that the city was built atop a massive archaeological site. Realizing it's like a maze, Toru notes that navigating it will be difficult. Kaede spots a trail of sticky fluid on the ground and points it out. Urara suspects it came from the monster that kidnapped Maria and suggests they follow it. Toru takes the lead, with Kaede in the middle and Urara at the rear. With this formation, they begin following the trail. After a while, they encounter some monsters. Toru then asks how deep this place goes, to which Urara replies that she only knows of 4 levels. Since she never ventured farther, she has no idea what lies beyond. Toru then asks Kaede if she has picked up Maria's scent. Kaede replies that she has, and it seems to follow the same path as the trail. Just then, a monster attempts to attack Toru from behind, but Urara swiftly takes it down. He thanks her and, impressed by her skill, asks about her job class. She replies that she is an assassin, and upon hearing this, Toru realizes that his help with the bandits earlier may have been unnecessary. Kaede then informs them that the scent is getting stronger. Following it, they arrive at a massive door, from which several demons emerge, gleeful at the sight of women they believe they can enjoy. Calling humans stupid, the demon rushes to attack them. While Toru realizes they are demons, Kaede decides to create a path for him and swings her fans, causing ice walls to form that split the group. With the path clear, he thanks Kaede, but she tells him to leave the demons to her, while Urara urges her to go help Maria. Trusting them with the fight, he charges ahead to rescue Maria. Although his path is blocked by several demons, he easily dashes past them, eliminating each one. After breaking open the gate, he enters a grand hall where a giant monster looms, in front of which a demon sits. The demon smirks and announces that his pet's food has arrived. Toru calmly asks if he is the one behind everything. The demon confirms, and when Toru demands a reason, he snaps his fingers and declares that although he doesn't need to explain, he will anyway. Suddenly, tentacles lash out and seize Toru while he resists. The demon reveals that this city is connected to another through an underground passage, which makes it easier to conquer the country. To do that, they must eliminate the lord of the city. When Toru asks if this is why Maria was kidnapped, the demon confirms, saying that taking a pretty girl hostage keeps the situation under control. As Toru glares at him, the demon bursts into laughter and taunts him, saying he will die before he gets the chance to kill him. At that moment, Toru breaks free from the tentacles, shocking the demon. Toru begins walking toward him, prompting the demon to cast an explosion spell, carving a crater in his path. The demon warns that if Toru gets any closer, he will be reduced to dust, but Toru provokes him to try. Enraged, the demon surrounds him with orbs of magic that detonate in a massive explosion. Believing Toru to be dead, the demon laughs, only to be horrified when the smoke clears and Toru stands unharmed. Toru declares that magic of this level cannot hurt him. Terrified, the demon fires another spell aimed at Toru's face, but that too fails, further terrifying him. The demon demands to know who Toru is and suspects he might be the hero foretold in prophecy. Without answering, Toru swiftly slashes him down, eliminating both the demon and the tentacled monster. He then states that he is not a hero, just a normal warrior. Later, when Maria regains consciousness, Urara urges her to take it easy. Confused, Maria asks what happened, and after seeing the hole in the ground, remembers being kidnapped. Urara announces that Maria has awakened, and the townsfolk express their relief. Toru and Kaede soon arrive after hearing the news. Maria asks what happened, and Toru explains that a monster emerged from the underground ruins, but the damage was minimal, and there were no casualties. Relieved, she asks if her father saved the city, but Urara tells her it was Toru and Kaede who came to her rescue. Learning this, Maria is stunned. As Urara bows in thanks, Toru tells her not to. He lost nothing by doing it. Moved by their courage, the townsfolk whose families had been taken begin thanking Kaede and Toru, making him a little shy. Suddenly, Maria hugs him and thanks him for protecting the people of the city. As he accepts her gratitude, Kaede comments that Maria is being too close. Later, at the mansion, Maria quickly hugs her father, Count Rayone, while Toru and Kaede watch from a distance. Kaede praises Toru, saying even one of the Demon Lord's generals was no match for him. Surprised, Toru admits he didn't expect that demon to be a general. He then asks her how she knows, to which she responds that when the man said he was one of the top 6 generals, she realized he was from the Demon Lord's army. Though that man was the weakest among the generals, he still held significant importance. This makes Toru wonder how powerful the Demon Lord must be. Just then, his stomach growls with hunger, catching the attention of Count Rayone and Maria. The Count thanks Toru, expressing sincere gratitude for saving his daughter. A bit shy, Toru replies that he just happened to be there and is simply glad she is safe. Maria then asks her father if he will give Toru a reward. He replies that he certainly will to show his gratitude, though he isn't sure whether Toru will accept it. Urara then tells Count Rayone that she has something to say, and whispers it to him. The Count looks at Toru in shock while Toru stands confused. Count Rayone expresses his surprise upon learning that the enemy Toru defeated was one of the Demon Lord's generals. Since that changes everything, he asks Toru if he plans to go to the capital, to which Toru replies affirmatively. Count Rayone says he will send a letter right away, and Urara whispers something to Maria, which makes her very happy. Count Rayone then tells Toru that he is welcome to stay as long as he likes, and Maria offers to show him around. Later that night, they have dinner at the Count's mansion, which Kaede finds very delicious. Toru then wipes her mouth and says there's food stuck in the corner. She thanks him, feeling slightly embarrassed. Toru believes that, despite having grown up, she is still a child at heart, and he wants her to be happy. Maria then asks if he is free tomorrow, and he responds by asking whether they can get permission to explore the underground ruins. When Maria asks if he wants to go there, he says he does, as it is a practically unexplored dungeon, which he finds extremely fascinating. He expresses his interest in ruins left behind by a mysterious race. Realizing it is pointless to stop him, Maria decides to go with him. As Urara tries to object, Maria insists that she will be going as well. However, Kaede disapproves, saying Toru could get hurt, which he agrees with since that area is under the Demon Lord's control. Maria then asks Kaede, as a friend, to let her join them and promises not to be a burden. Surprised to be called a friend, Kaede accepts. With that, Toru suggests that Kaede and Urara escort Maria while he leads, and if there is any sign of danger, they will retreat immediately. Both Maria and Kaede agree, while Urara has no choice but to comply. The next day, they stand outside the mansion, waiting for Maria and Urara. When the two finally arrive, they are nearly unrecognizable. Toru asks Maria why she's wearing armor, and she replies that her father told her to wear it after she explained what they would be doing. Toru apologizes for going against the Count's wishes, but insists she cannot wear that. He explains that it would be difficult to move in, so she decides to go change. A few moments later, she returns dressed normally, which Toru finds much better. They later enter the ruins with a map, deciding to go beyond the first two levels, which have already been explored. Maria warns them that most of the area beyond that is dangerous. When Toru asks how dangerous, Maria explains that the floor is deteriorating rapidly. The next room is flooded with demons, and the rest remains unexplored. Since Maria's safety is the top priority, Toru suggests he handle the dangerous areas. When Maria insists she can defend herself, Toru asks what the Count would say if he heard that. With no other choice, she agrees, and they begin their exploration of the ruins. Maria then asks him the name of his party, to which he replies that it is the Manhwa Brigade. Hearing this, Maria finds the name typical of him. Kaede then informs the group that she has caught the scent of demons ahead. Toru tells her to use appraisal. As she does, she discovers that the source is a mushroom-type monster. With this information, they approach to investigate. Noticing them, a mouse becomes startled and rushes forward, but its body suddenly gets covered in mushrooms upon contact with the vines. Seeing this, Kaede suspects that the vines in the area contain a powerful poison. Maria then suggests ending their exploration there, but Toru refuses, stating that he will proceed alone from this point. As Kaede becomes concerned, Toru reassures her, reminding her that he is level 300 and also has antidotes. Since he refuses to stop, she tells him to be careful, to which he agrees. Maria then also warns him not to do anything reckless, while hugging his arm and pressing her chest against it. Startled, he quickly pulls away, saying he will keep that in mind. As he enters the mushroom-infested area, the monsters lunge at him, but he easily eliminates them with a sweeping roundhouse kick. Urara is shocked by how excited Toru appears, while Kaede and Maria cheer for him. While fighting, he notices that he is not being infected and begins to wonder if his new race, the Dragon Folk, might be the strongest in the world. As he continues to battle the mushroom monsters, he eventually arrives at a door. Upon opening it and entering the room, he finds that it resembles a place an alchemist would live in. While rummaging through the items, he discovers a chest containing numerous potions. He then returns to the group, and Kaede asks if he found anything. He replies affirmatively, saying he discovered several potions and a key, which he believes unlocks a nearby box. Maria once again grabs his arm and praises him, admitting she didn't expect any relics to still be intact. Kaede quickly pulls her away, saying she's too close and reminding her that Toru is her master. Then suddenly, Urara appears behind Toru and tells him to show some decency, which terrifies him. Later, they arrive at the second floor, which Maria notes is poorly explored and contains unknown areas. Toru then asks her about the origin of the place. She explains that it was once an underground fortress, but admits she knows nothing beyond that. Toru finds it strikingly similar to the one in Luntat, which vanished. Maria then requests that Toru teach her how to fight. Toru replies that she was only supposed to accompany them and that he never agreed to train her. Still, she insists, saying she is tired of being weak and always needing protection from Urara. As she pleads with him, Kaede supports her, suggesting that she can always heal Maria with magic if she gets hurt. Maria is delighted to hear this, though Urara protests. Maria then says that while she appreciates Urara's concern, she wants to become strong enough to help her father in the future. Seeing the determination in her eyes, Urara reluctantly agrees. As Toru says they should begin immediately, the lock icon beside his skill list suddenly shatters again. This time, he receives 4 additional jobs, and a system window appears stating that he has reached the maximum level of experience storage, and that the surplus will be converted into a rank increase. The leveling process is so powerful that a pillar of lightning becomes visible from a distance. One adventurer notices it, and when another asks what's wrong, he replies that he saw lightning. However, the other adventurer dismisses it as his imagination. Setting that aside, the level up also triggers a shockwave from Toru's body. Confused, he wonders why this happens now, but then notices the status windows. As it states that his experience points are being converted into a rank increase, he questions whether this means he has obtained a higher level job. The process of his power increase then concludes, prompting him to ask if it is over. Maria immediately asks what just happened, while Urara questions whether it has something to do with his ability. Toru explains that it occurred due to changes in his ability and apologizes for frightening them, which Maria accepts. Setting that aside, he discovers that he has acquired several new jobs but doesn't fully understand them. Katie decides to help, and after taking a look, she is shocked. She informs him that every one of these jobs is superior and high-ranking, which surprises him even more. For example, his original job, Warrior, which includes physical enhancement and endurance, is a basic class. However, since he ranked up instead of leveling up, he received top-tier jobs. One such job is Dragon Knight, which includes skills like Mount Dragon, Weakening, Weakness Detection, and Improved Running. Then there is Great Thief, which grants treasure hunting, trap detection, and spy. The Master Timmer job also allows for mounting, along with anti-demon and demon weakening skills. Toru then asks her about the last job, Imitator, but Kaide admits she doesn't understand it, as it appears blurry and unreadable. While Toru wonders if it might be a dangerous class, he notices a category labeled Possession, which seems familiar. Maria then asks if he's all right, prompting him to recall their earlier conversation. He agrees to teach her but instructs her not to act recklessly and to listen carefully, to which she agrees. She then requests that she and Urara be allowed to join the party. She asks to be included, at least while they remain in town, though Toru doesn't see it as necessary. However, Kaide believes it's their way of expressing sincerity, so Toru decides to accept and makes them part of the party. Later, they venture deeper into the dungeon, where they are surrounded by goblin-like creatures. As the monsters lunge from all directions, Maria screams in fear. Before they reach her, Toru quickly saves her and eliminates the attackers. He tells Maria to never close her eyes during battle, and she acknowledges his advice. Kaede then uses one of her skills, Ice Needle, to eliminate several goblins. Urara, on the other hand, rushes through the enemies, snapping their necks with swift precision. Maria, however, feels overwhelmed, as the goblins seem endless no matter how many they defeat. Toru encourages her to be more confident in her abilities, noting that with her current level, handling them should be easy. Though he admits their numbers are troublesome, he believes she can manage if she stays calm. Another goblin then charges forward, but Toru easily blocks and slams it into the others. After this demonstration, he asks Maria if she can do the same, to which she confidently replies that she can. Kaede and Urara then join her to provide support. With this newfound confidence, Maria decides to face the goblins head-on. A few moments later, after battling through them, she finds herself up against a spider-like monster. She effortlessly dodges all of its attacks and, thrusting her rapier at incredible speed, eliminates it. She is overjoyed to have defeated such a large monster on her own. Not only that, she has also leveled up to level 36, while Urara has gone from level 50 to level 70. Excited, Maria suggests continuing, and Urara adds that she still has plenty of energy. However, Toru tells them not to be hasty. He then asks Kaede why she is giggling, to which she responds, wondering if she was like them once. Toru agrees but adds that she was actually even worse, which shocks her. Setting that aside, Kaede suggests returning to the surface, to which Toru agrees. He then asks Maria if she is ready to go back, but she insists they still have enough time to explore some unexplored areas. Seeing her so excited, Toru believes she has no intention of going home anytime soon, so he agrees to continue exploring. Later, after venturing deeper into the ruins, they reach a dead end. While the others feel a bit disappointed, Toru carefully analyzes the wall before them. He begins tapping it, prompting Kaede to ask what's wrong. At that moment, he hears a hollow sound from a section of the wall and realizes it is exactly as he suspected. He stabs the wall with his finger, carves out a circular shape, and kicks it in to reveal a hidden room filled with swords lying on the ground. As he picks one up and finds no trace of rust, even though it must have been here for ages, he wonders what material it is made of. Whatever it is, he finds the technology incredible. Then Kaede calls out to him and shows him two egg-shaped objects. Since they have been abandoned here for such a long time, Toru believes it's unlikely they are still alive. Kaede uses her appraisal skill on them and learns they are summoned beasts, artificial creatures created by the ancient race, primarily used to assist with daily tasks, though they were also capable of supporting in combat. It appears they were stored in stasis for long-term survival, and she explains they can be awakened if enough magic is poured into them. Finding this very interesting, Toru decides to give it a try and holds one of the eggs in his hands. But when he pours magic into it, nothing really happens. Kaede believes the creature inside may possess great magical power. Since that's the case, Toru begins pouring even more mana into the egg. Then suddenly, the room starts to distort, with air bubble-like ripples forming across the ground. Feeling the overwhelming magical pressure, Urara is shocked, while Kaede remarks that it feels as if they are underwater. When the egg begins to glow, indicating it is ready, Toru pours a bit of his blood onto it to complete the contract. The egg then suddenly cracks open, shocking both Toru and Kaede, and from it emerges a cloud-like creature with a single eye. While Toru admits he doesn't know what kind of monster it is, Kaede finds it beautiful nonetheless. As she uses magic to clean it with a gentle shower, Toru admits it looks nice, but wonders whether it's useful. Hearing this, the creature appears slightly annoyed, and suddenly lifts Kaede onto its back. Seeing this, Toru realizes it can carry people. While Kaede delights in its fluffiness, Toru thinks it could be used for transporting items. As Kaede suggests giving it a name, Toru comes up with Panda. Kaede likes the name, and the creature has no choice but to accept it. After finishing up on the other side, Maria and Urara arrive, and notice Panda, whom Kaede declares is now part of their party. As Panda makes curious noises at the sight of them, Maria and Urara find it incredibly cute. While they enjoy the moment, Toru decides to store the other egg for later, and looks forward to discovering what's inside. Later, they return to the mansion and begin appraising their findings. Among the items are super healing potions, body-strengthening medicines, and more. But most importantly, Kaede discovers an elixir that shocks both Lord Rayon and Toru, as it's an ultra-rare elixir. So rare that even the Lord has never seen one before. Rayoni suggests selling it at an auction in the royal capital, where the wealthy nobles and merchants reside. With that, Toru decides to look for one when he reaches the capital. Lord Rayon then pays him the full amount for the relic Toru sold him, which totals 500 million. Toru is astonished, having never seen so much money in his life. Then suddenly, Panda bursts into the room with Maria chasing after it, telling it to stop. She then enters as well, fully unclothed and covered in soap, saying she hasn't finished washing Panda. It appears she didn't know Toru was there, and is too shocked to say anything. Kaede quickly buries Toru's face in her chest to prevent him from seeing. While Toru silently thanks Kaede for the pleasant sensation, Lord Rayon sighs at the chaos. Maria finally lets out a scream, while Toru thinks to himself that he will sleep happily tonight. It has been a few days since he arrived at the mansion. During this time, they explore ruins and hunt demons. Thanks to these efforts, Maria reaches level 100 and Urara level 80, achieving the power of a hero. With that, Toru has fulfilled his part of the promise. As he comes out of his room, Kaede greets him with Panda beside her, and he greets her in return. They step outside the mansion and find Maria practicing fencing. Upon noticing them, she and Urara greet them with a good morning. Toru comments that the sword has already become a part of her. Maria agrees, saying she has never felt anything like this before. She then asks if he is really leaving today, to which Toru averts his gaze and says he could stay longer, but there is something he must do. There is still a hole in his heart, and he needs to keep moving to heal it. He then informs her about the auction letter he received from the Count. Although she is happy for him, she admits to feeling jealous of Kaede. While Kaede looks confused, Maria continues, saying that Kaede gets to travel with Toru. If it were possible, she would also leave home to see the world, and she believes that would be fun. As she gives them a sad smile, Toru softly says her name. He understands her sadness. As a noble's daughter, She will eventually be married, likely without a choice, and remain sheltered like a bird in a cage until then. A few moments later, Toru thanks Count Rayon for everything he has done. The Count replies that he should be the one giving thanks, as his daughter is alive because of him. Noticing that Maria remains silent, Toru decides to speak first. He tells her not to be so sad, as they will meet again. Even so, the thought of them leaving makes her truly sad. While Toru tries to comfort her, Kaede suddenly hugs her. She tells Maria to trust them and says that she and Toru will never forget her. Maria then asks if Kaede will come to see her again, to which she replies that she will. Hearing this, Maria again admits that she is jealous of her. After bidding everyone farewell, Kaede and Toru leave to continue their journey. Back in the present, when Sane and his party arrive in Luntat and found that the dungeon is gone. In shock, he shouts, asking where the dungeon went. Nearby adventurers inform him that it has been gone for some time. He recalls that the man who guided them mentioned it had been a month since the dungeon disappeared. Frustration overwhelms him, as that dungeon was supposed to be where he made his debut as a hero, and now it has all gone to waste. Sora then places a hand on his shoulder and asks if he is all right. Mistaking her concern for pity, he becomes irritated. Without warning, he grabs her by the neck and slams her to the ground, calling her a bitch and telling her not to touch him. Nay and Lisa shout for him to stop, but while still holding her down, he demands to know who she thinks she is to pity him. As she can barely manage to say that it hurts, Lisa and Nay try to get him off her, warning that she will die at this rate. He finally snaps out of it and backs away, while Lisa asks Sora if she is okay, and Nay scolds Sane, telling him he shouldn't treat his friends like this. To make matters even worse, the onlookers call Sane a horrible man, and even consider calling the soldiers. Hearing this, Sane realizes the situation is dire. At this rate, he will gain a reputation for mistreating women. Wondering if their brainwashing is wearing off, he activates his demon eye on them again. As it regains control over them more effectively, he orders them to follow him quickly. Later, after escaping the town, they settle near a quiet place. Lisa believes that Armand Kingdom is the perfect place for their party to make its mark. She suggests they return to their country and start over from scratch. When Sane asks why, she replies that all their current plans depend on the assumption that he will obtain the sacred sword, but since he keeps failing, she believes it's too risky to continue. Although Sane knows she's right, he refuses to bow to the king, admit his failure, and endure such shame. Since there are other sacred swords, he believes he can still catch up and obtain one even after passing through Armand. Nai then mentions that there is a town at the end of the road called Einark, which has some great unexplored ruins. She suggests they go there, gather treasure, and make their debut. Sane thinks it's a good idea, and agrees that doing so will surely draw attention, and the others agree as well. Later they arrive at Lord Rayon's mansion, where Sane is shocked to learn that the ruins have already been explored. When Lord Rayon suggests there is nothing left to explore, Sane asks who did it. Rayon explains that the Manhwa Brigade, after defeating the Demon Lord's army, explored the ruins. Maria then enters the room looking for her father and apologizes for interrupting. Upon seeing her, Sane instantly finds her stunningly beautiful, causing a part of his body to react. He decides to make her his, and after telling her to wait, he uses the demon eye on her. But suddenly he feels immense pain as blood streams from his eyes. As he questions what's happening, the system informs him that the demon eye failed because the target's level is higher than the user's. Sane finds it impossible and refuses to believe she is of a higher level than him, a hero. Suddenly Maria draws her sword and asks him what he just tried to do to her. As Sane reels from her speed, Rayone calmly calls his name. He tells Sane that although he is a hero, the gods sometimes give their support to those who earn it through hard work. Hearing this, Sane asks if Rayone is implying that the adventurer who explored the ruins is more favored by the gods than he is. Rayone admits he isn't certain, but that person displayed such overwhelming strength that he believes it might be true. Not only that, but the adventurer also had a pure heart, something San lacks. Rayone then declares that Sane no longer has any business there and tells him to leave before he gets hurt. Later, Sane and his party arrive at a nearby ruin, where he vents all his rage. He shouts in frustration, asking why nothing is working when he is supposed to be the hero. Lisa again suggests they return to their country, but he angrily demands to know what will happen to the sacred sword. He then declares that they are going to Armand, where he will obtain a sacred sword and orders them to follow him. He deludes himself into believing he will acquire the sacred sword and become the man he once was, the perfect man who had everything under control.